All right. So when we talk about graphics, there are two types really that we need to consider: vectors and bitmaps. So bitmaps. This is a bitmap here. Now, a bitmap works that this is a grid of pixels, and each pixel has a different color to it. And so in the file, it is just a grid of pixels, and each pixel then has an amount of data attached to it. So the more pixels you have, the bigger the file is, and the more colors you have, the more data has to be stored and the bigger the file is. So when we talk about digital cameras and you hear the term megapixels, it is referring to how many millions of pixels there are. So look, here is a bitmap of Three Cliffs Bay in Swansea. Now, bitmaps are ideal for photos because you need all this color depth, and with this, we can, just by mucking around with some of the things, we can actually change how those pixels actually work with each other, and it actually affects each individual pixel. And so this is how photos, of course, can then be edited. And just by applying all these different filters, you can change like the highlights and lowlights and give it different contrast, and that's how they prepare photos for magazines and things, which means you can't really believe anything that you see. So there's bitmaps, ideal for photos because of their color depth and richness. So here's a couple of the downsides. One, they take up more space, and two, resizing is a problem. So here all I've done, and you can actually see the individual pixels here now, is all I've done is when I've stretched this out, because it was a small image to start with, I've actually just stretched out each pixel, and now I've got a really low quality image, which is a problem. So that's bitmaps. Vectors are different. Here are three vector shapes, and vectors work by coordinates. So this is a simple vector, and really all of the computer would need to know is this coordinate here and here to know that it's a square, and what to fill it with. And that doesn't matter how big the image is, whether it's tiny like that or it's 300 foot tall, it still only needs that same information. So vectors can be resized. So like down here, I can actually give it some dimensions. So obviously architects can use vectors, but they're also used for company logos. And all I can do is just change parameters here, and my vector changes, but it can still just be resized to any size I want, and it will retain the quality. See that it just keeps it like nice and smooth, really. So vectors are often used for company logos. So look, here is the McDonald's logo here, which is a vector-based logo. And this can then be cut and stretched to do whatever you want. So here is part of that logo applied on a billboard here. Obviously, this is a bitmap photo of it. But this billboard here is massive. But that doesn't really matter because this image can be changed and manipulated without any loss of quality. So bitmaps use a grid of colors. Vectors use mathematical coordinates. And obviously, they take up much less disk space as well. So that is everything you need to know